bags ready for the whenever I told them I was going to town.
So you're supposed to do how?
It's gonna be really nice.
So,
Will you set him up on that?
yes, I'll probably need the mic so they or you could just stand next to me.
Well, that's whatever you
You want
want
to
to
just
do.
stand next to me for now? You can just be my shadow. Okay, just get my good side.
All right. So we're a couple minutes past 6, everybody. So we'll get started. So dig in. But thanks everybody for coming out tonight on this sweltering evening. We've got a couple people online. We've got Brandon and Reverend Philip on Zoom. But thanks everybody. We've got a lot of new faces or newer faces here as well tonight. So I've even got my agenda printed off. We're just getting a little damp. So let's do the pledge. We've got a flag. Really helpful. So, pledge allegiance
To the flag
of
the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, forgot to ring the bell. Wait, right, first I ring the bell to start. First bell of the new year. Let's guests and visitors. You're doing that. Amy, take it away.
All right. Yeah, my name's Carson Schneider. I was originally from La Crosse, Wisconsin. I went to school down in Madison and worked there for the last 2 years. Last year during COVID, I moved back, but didn't get really involved in anything. So looking forward to just joining Rotary and getting back. One interesting fact about myself. I don't know. It's always a tough one, right? I really enjoy all things outdoors and activities. So basketball, I use trails, and I bought a mountain bike last year, so it's been really fun to be back and utilize other things. So yeah,
Thank
we'll go with that.
Thank you and welcome.
Thanks.
And then I think I Hi, I'm Sierra. I'm from here. I'm from La Crosse. I grew up here. Went to Onalaska High School, went to Turbo, and now I'm working at New Horizon. A fun fact about me, right, that is a hard one. I learned how to mountain bike last summer, or not learned how to bike, but like got the courage to do it. And I did it up here. So I'm excited to hear more about stuff and all that.
Why don't you guys just okay. My name is John. Logan High School. Oh yeah. What was that? How long have you been? This will be my 3rd year.
My name is Will. I'm also going to be a senior, Logan, and co-pres with John. And an interesting fact about me is that I peel bananas not from like that top little stem thing. I do from the bottom, like the right way, like monkeys. Yep.
And John, you at our birthday party?
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for
We've got 2 co-presidents, both interactions. We'll be speaking a little bit later, so we're excited to have you guys here and all of our guests tonight. Let's move into announcements. Staff, please tell us about service.
So next, besides what's coming up, it's October at October, and on behalf of Caitlin, I am supposed to beg people to sign up for Oktoberfest and say that it will be in Mobile Meal, which is the coming or this current week. But Oktoberfest is supposed to be super fun and it's a great time to know fellow Rotarians and spend the time at
Well, I was going to say that. I think I got the last word, but I wasn't. still a
No, it's a lot of fun. It's a great way to even if you don't know 'em, I guarantee there's nobody that's as scary as me and Marissa. So, it's a great way to get to know some of those characters. So, would highly recommend it. Ashley for the art. You mentioned that.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't.
Okay. All right.
Oh no, but
Sounds good.
I was not prepared.
Is anybody prepared to speak about socials, or I can talk socials? All right. So socials, we have King Mango's Pup Party coming up here early in August down at Huska Dog Park. We have Moon Tunes. Rod takes over Moon Tunes on August 5th. And we have the Moonlight Cinema. And thank you, James, for all you've done to champion that. We have Rod Night at Moonlight Cinema on August 20th. Do you know what they're playing?
Onward.
Okay.
Onward.
Onward. So, and for those who don't know, that's something that Bark is doing down at Riverside Park, I believe, right? And they put the movie on the big screen at dusk down by the. Yep. So, let's see, we've got some new members that have joined. Oh, well, we've got some new members that have joined recently, as you guys have seen on Facebook. So we want to extend a warm welcome. It's a welcome on Facebook. If you have met any of our new members, please make them feel welcome. So, I think we've got two, like Bradley, you're here, Neil, you're here. Is there anybody else who's joined in the last month or two that I've missed? I apologize. Okay, cool. I did pretty good. But yeah, so make sure to talk to you guys. They do make them feel welcome, and make sure to talk to some of our guests. Let's- Oh, great! Public Image Committee. What's going on with Public Image Committee?
Well, you should give me some warning. Oh, public image committee. Anybody likes to post on Facebook or Instagram? We need your help. Basically, public image committee. We tell our Rotary story. We share the good things that we do in the community. Always can use some help. We have a small but mighty team. Sorry, the Chronicle hasn't gone out. It's my goal to get it out tonight. So that will be sent. But if for some reason you're at a Rotary event, snap a picture, email it to me, text me. I know there was a check presentation last night to Horseman, so I got those pictures and stuff, and we just want to make sure we stay active on our media presence. We've been doing more on Instagram, so if you don't follow us on Instagram, go follow us. Of course, if you don't follow us on Facebook, follow us on.
There's a Public Image Committee.
We do have a standing meeting on yes, that, but we're having conflicts with scheduling, so we're gonna reschedule at the time that works better for us.
Foundation Committee. We're supposed to meet again tonight, but with trying to meeting things and all those, we're actually going to meet the first Tuesday. So do that by membership committee is going to be the fourth meeting on the 10th. So for those who don't know, membership committee is really focused on how do we help our new members have experience. The committee, I believe, Melissa, you're probably the only representative here tonight of membership. So the committee needs some extra hands, needs help with fresh ideas. So particularly if you're newer in the club, you've got some thoughts back on what to do with membership. So if you have any questions, please reach out to myself, Marissa, Ashley, Alyssa, pretty much anybody in the club if you're interested in learning more about it. Was there anything else that I'm Avenues of Service is coming up towards the end of August 25th. So that's where we celebrate all the different things that have happened over the last year within the Rotary Club area. So I don't recall how much a ticket is, but there is a fee for that instead of a second. So the school networking event is not, but they have it in the Columbus Center this year. So. Oh, okay. Awesome.
I believe it's $35 plus free card. So like $36. But yeah, eat all vegetarian and other stuff over there. And there's gift baskets. Put in.
Always a good time. It's one of my favorite events. Probably. Home and service auction was also a lot of fun for those great. A lot of fun. Less. Got a cake, very expensive cake. So I think Morgan got. Yeah, Morgan. They have this thing where you get these very fancy cakes, and I think the first one went for like $450.
No,
$750. Sorry, $750. So then they bring.
yeah.
Then they kind of everybody at the table gets a piece, and then they bring it back up. So we got Morgan bought a third of it and shared it with the table, and there was still some left. But that's one of the fun events. If you ever get the opportunity, you have to go to the table. Any questions on so far?
I got this in the mail for just at Street Garden. They're having their Taste of the Garden fundraiser. Which there's garden tours, live entertainment by Tom Conrad, silent auction, food and drinks and casual attire Thursday, August 18th. Local beer, wine, and garden inspired appetizers. So if anybody wants to support Hunger Task Force and the garden, I just have to bring this. Oh, that's nice there. So
I'm gonna put somebody else for so issue to work with training.
so yeah, as the more seasoned members may recall, during this year's Shark Tank presentations to see which project would get the $10,000 that we are able to fund. One of the projects that was pitched was pitched by myself and Laura, and it is for Horse Sense, which is a nonprofit organization that provides for mostly people with physical and mental disabilities, but also they've been serving more veterans and people with mental health issues, especially during the pandemic. And one of the things that they were looking for at this time was funding for a new pasture. So right now they have kind of limited space and the horses are eating down the grass and they are looking to expand on the acreage that they have. And so the money that they were looking for was to provide fencing and water and electric. Unfortunately, the club did not choose that as the Shark Tank project, but Rotary Works at the end of June, which, if you're not familiar, Rotary Works is a foundation that kind of involves all the local clubs, and they are able to provide funding for various projects. They were able to provide a $1,500 for Horse Sense, and so Josh, myself, Eileen, and the Rotary Works president, Jamie Morgan from the Valley View Club went up there last night. It's a beautiful location on top of the bluff, and we were able to present them with this $1,500 check that will help them to better serve their horses, which means they can better serve individuals that they serve. We were kind of discussing it's a very niche thing, like therapeutic riding, but it's very, very important for the that it does serve. So.
I think we've got a certain event scheduled.
Yes, and then we, even though the Shark Tank didn't get funded, we did want to have a relationship with them. And so the first thing that we're going to do besides the tech presentation with them is a service opportunity on September 25th, and that is in anticipation of their Harvest Fall Festival, which is on the 9th of October. The service event will help them to prepare the grounds for this fall festival. So if you'd like to kind of get, deep into potential farm work and groundskeeping, then you can join us then.
So Steph was able to leverage her passion for horses, and it's pretty cool because when Rotary Works came to the club and said, "Hey, we've got money to away for got jumped on it, so we got that done." So if you've got a passion, if you've got something where you're like, "Hey, you're passionate about," reach out to us. Right? There's no rule that we can only have one service event a month, but I'm not sure what's going on in the fest world lately, but this year's just been crazy. Like in the past, we helped out with basically Riverfest, and this year we've got Airfest, Riverfest, Oktoberfest, Ashley for the Arts, like multiple different things for all these fests. So we're a club that wants to get back. So always looking for opportunities. Yeah, but gotta do so one more piece before we get to you guys to interact. Um, if you've probably noticed, since we've come off of Zoom, we've met in a lot of like we haven't got a full therapy. We used to interact with but due to club feedback and interest in contribution, we have not gone back to that point. So what we have done is we formed a small task force of members of the club to work. We're going to lead up that task force, but there's a long list of potential venues, pros, cons, audio, visual, like all these, food, all these different things. So there's not going to be a simple solution. There's not going to be something I'm sure that's going to make everybody in the club to hop up and down for joy, but we're going to try and find the solution that works best for everyone. So there is a task force, and we're going to be working. Our first, couple meetings starting in September will be at the venue, and we're going to try out feedback. So more to come on that, but we are new permanent home. If any questions come up for that, but I mean, most of the spreadsheets gotta have like like right?
There's several on, but we're always open to there's something that oh, I guess we haven't thought of. Send that on the list of tries. We'll go from there.
And of course, is that Caitlin?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Ready.
Excellent. Well, here comes Caitlin and Dinosaur Freddy. So there you go. Hey. Okay, Will and John. Yes. Okay. So I've asked Will and John to come tonight to talk a little bit about some of the projects that they've been doing, some of the things that are coming up, because I believe Interact is a really cool thing. Had partnerships through iFeed and other events in the past. And we also have Nick Ragnar, one of our members, who's one of the advisors for the Logan Interact Club. So they also helped at our 10th birthday party. So wanted to invite them out, hear a little bit about what's going on. So take it away, guys. You got a couple minutes.
I can talk about the car stuff, but so basically at the beginning of our year, we were like, what the heck are we gonna do? We just had a president because the year before when we had our elections, only one person signed up to do like the leadership role. So then he was luckily our friend, and then he was like, hey, you guys should do this. So he became like secretary, I became treasurer, and started like brainstorming ideas this year because we were all online, but school for like the first six 3 quarters of the school year. So our first project this year was made Christmas card for elderly residents at nursing home. We did that and then did some other small stuff, but then river cleanup. Somewhere in there. We did the river cleanup. We did a shoe drive, which Nick Ragnar helped out a bunch of that. We had commercials on the radio. We had a news segment on 18 or 19, but that helped a lot. We keep our goals like thousands, and we're really happy about that. That was the last.
Yeah, we were super lucky because what Stacy was also doing a food drive around that time, and so we're kind of like, oh, how's this gonna go? But it turned out really well. We're super excited to sort of emulate and continue that success next year. I'm not sure how much what I can say completely about what we're going to do next year,
Yeah,
but
we don't have any concrete plans next year.
I know we have a lot more time, and I know that getting people on board and involved in the club this year is going to be really tough because obviously this year is hard to get people into.
Yeah, we lost a lot of membership. Like a lot of like clubs Rotary stuff, a lot of people were like disengaged. They didn't like come to meetings at all. They didn't want to participate in some of the things. And some of that was on us without too much, but that was kind of hard because of the platform. We were online. A lot of people don't take like 2 hours, so it was hard. But
Now that we'll hopefully be back in person, numbers back up, more of what we that was mainly the spend. I mean, we paid to send them out, but
that was like all Nick ragging. That was like all him. He was just like, you guys want to send the book? And we're like, sure. So then he just went to UPS.
yeah, they made like some books for
Yeah, they made like the whole last week when COVID hit, they had a bunch of these like books they made in the class. Every for like the fifth year Spanish class, they all had to make like a book um, for a school child to read, and they were all going to send them over, but then they couldn't. So they just had a bunch of books laying around. So they asked us for help. Um, pay for shipping. It was like we were rolling around like, how are we going to do this? Will they take the books and stuff? It all talking together.
Are you guys planning on iFeed happening next year?
We're hoping. We're hoping. But that's, yeah.
I've only done it once.
I've only done it once as well.
Okay.
I cleaned up on one.
I mean, I don't know many.
Okay, this will be my basic rundown of what I think iFeed is. Probably now what iFeed is. I think it's just a bunch of people prepping to send food to. I don't really remember where. Nicaragua. And a bunch of people pack it in one day, and there's a goal at the beginning, and then try to get the goal. There's two.
Yeah.
You got me with that one. Now I'm remembering. Now I'm remembering.
But just so you know, right, if you're both always welcome, anybody else who ever wants to come to Rotary After Hours, you're always welcome. Love to have you as guests and kind of seeing what Rotary does, and if you're ever looking for a partner for the project. Can't make any promises, so we'd love to hear about some. So, but thanks again for coming. Any questions for these two, or any last comments?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I've heard Nick Regner's name a lot. What's Nick Regner's role at Logan?
That's a good question.
Because Nick Regner is one of our Rotary members of this club. So what is guys at Logan?
He'll help us. He's always there talking some of the projects that.
Yeah, he was always there when we were doing the shoe thing. He was always emailing us, and he was just whenever we had something, he threw it at us. Like, yeah, we can do that. And he set up the 5 radios that we had. Set up the news interview for a segment to help him about the shoe drive. So he really helped with that. I think if he wasn't there, we would not have like any. We would have gotten.
I can add a little more context.
You know
As
what?
the district
Is
youth
there-
services
you're-
chair,
That's
that's okay. So each Interact club has a Rotarian that acts as an advisor. When Interact started getting big in the La Crosse area, After Hours actually was involved in almost every single Interact club. And Nick is our lowly ranger at this point.
hey, Logan, slowly get it, with the advisors for that club. So if you're interested in working with the youth in our district and in our local community, being an Interact advisor is a really good way to kind of interact with the students at the high schools and kind of help them get involved in different community activities, and then also continue to teach them about other items that Rotary does, get them partnered with other Rotary clubs to continue to engage them with us older Rotarians as we do different service activities as well. So Nick is the one Interact advisor. Each club does have an advisor from one of the local Rotary.
So I'm like not a
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And if you're one of those people that maybe isn't able to come to Rotary meetings after work, that's a really good way. Like maybe if you have a lunch hour, when do you guys have your meetings? When they were in person, when did you have your meetings?
We had them in person on Wednesdays right after.
So that would be kind of depending on the school. They have different meetings that the advisors would be asked to attend. So if you have a more flexible work schedule, it might be something that you'd be interested in doing as well. So
And also very fun. We had cahoots. We had a lot of cahoots. Prize.
There's always a high. It's kind of like, yeah. So if you do have flexibility in your schedule, it's very rewarding, and I so thank you, Laura. All right. Any other announcements or anything before I introduce Jed? Keith Leaf was supposed to be here tonight, but he had some conflict. As most of you know, he was a past president a couple years ago. He was instrumental in our club and championing this, amongst some other members, but championing this project for 3 years. But Keith does teach on Tuesday night, so that's one of the reasons why I'm not speaking hardly at all lately. So we're disappointed he's not going to be able to be here tonight, but Jed was scheduled to speak, and he's just going to speak for even longer, which is going to be great. But Jed has been part of ORA, or Outdoor Recreation Alliance, for 15 years. He originally, kind of got connected when they built this trailhead area, and they built out this beautiful trailhead, all these different cool recreation options here for anybody in the city to utilize. He's held pretty much every position in the organization, and now recently has become the executive director. So, Jed, welcome.
I'm going to come stand where you are so people don't have to look over their shoulder. All right. Yeah. Thanks for letting me come out tonight. I had 3 shirts in my van, and this was the cleanest. So I've been out running on projects all day today. This was kind of my day out of the office on some projects. We actually started a bench project with some members of the Schilling family from the Schilling Supply Company, and they donated a bunch of benches, and now the goal is to get these benches installed. They're about 800 pounds a piece, so we're kind of figuring out that process on how we get them out into different locations in the forest. And kind of one of the goals is for people to then say, how did this get here? So we started today over at Grandad Bluff, and we'll be continuing doing that. So again, I'm Jed Olson, and I'm the executive director. And like Josh mentioned, I've been involved in ORA for a really long time. And at a point, there was a time when, it was a busy night up here when there were 2 or 3 cars up here, and we kind of knew everybody who came and went. And I love now that I look around and I don't know the people who are coming and going. It means there's a lot more users on our trails and in the woods, in the forest. And as I'm sure many of you found in 2020, a lot of people are discovering the benefits of being outside, and we're fully embracing that as an organization. And a big part of that allowed me to go from, in all honesty, I shuttered a construction company to take the position at a nonprofit. And most people hearing that in 2020, when construction's going, gangbusters in many fields, and nonprofits are not necessarily having a great run, to hear that I made that move, they'd be like, what are you doing? But I'm fully engaged and ready to take our organization kind of to the next level. So we've 15 years ago when I got involved, it was a few people up here a few nights a week. And if we had a few $100s to put gas in weed eaters, we were good. Now we're doing, hundreds of thousands of dollars in projects a year, and really trying to engage lots of different people, and kind of like a hiker, biker, trail runner. Comparison might be that, well, people say, are you a hiker? Well, some people will be like, yeah, I kind of hike. Well, if you've ever gone for a walk outside, you're pretty much a hiker, right? Or are you a cyclist? Well, if you don't wear spandex, you can still be a cyclist. If you know how to ride a bike and you like riding your bike, then call yourself a cyclist. Or, and so we've really been able to engage a lot wider audience and a lot more people. And a big part of that has been through our involvement with several different Rotary organizations. So if anyone's ever used Vista Trail, it's actually called Rotary Vista Trail. Rotary Downtown was involved in that. I think that was about 2014 that got built. And actually just last week, we wrapped up what we were calling Vista Palooza, which was the repair and maintenance of just kind of touching up and buffing up that 2.5 mile trail after 6-7 years of since it was constructed. So we do a lot with Rotary East over at Chad Erickson Park and what we call our community forest zone. And I've presented to Rotary Valley View. We haven't done any formal projects with them, but we've got some great allies over there who've made some great connections on a few other projects. And then obviously the connection here with Rotary After Hours, or as I sometimes call it, Rotary After Dark. But apparently that was not the right image you guys were going for. I think I made it through like a whole meeting one time calling it Rotary After Dark, and someone was like, "That's not what it's called." I was like, "Oh, sorry." So, and in summary, because as Josh mentioned, many of you are new, there's kind of a 3-year commitment that Rotary had to supporting Hixon Forest. Hixon Forest has seen ups and downs over the years. There's a bicentennial trail over here, and that was built in 1976. I almost said 1776, but no, it was 1976 by a very active kind of community swing in the 90s or in the 70s. Through the 90s, we saw a little bit of kind of downturn in some of the involvement in the outdoor spaces. And 6 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, if you came to this space, it wouldn't feel like a park space, like a trailhead. There was kind of some junk laying over here and a few things over here, and being able to bring the entire community and the Hixon Forest resources, which really kind of have fuzzy boundaries when you start getting towards Miller Bluff or into Shelby properties, but we're just blessed with all this great space that people can use. And no matter who you are in town, on the edges of town, you can take the bus line and you get to all these great spaces, both up the bluff and out on the river. You can do canoeing and kayaking right in town, on the La Crosse River. There's just so many cool opportunities. And Rotary After Hours took on this kind of commitment to helping take care of the Hixon Forest area. So there was a lot of work with both MVC, Friends of the Blufflands, and Outdoor Recreation Alliance. So we're all 3 nonprofits that really have a focus in different ways on the spaces that we get to have here in La Crosse. So there's if anyone knows anything about goat prairies, they're these little patches of kind of uncanopied area. So there's no forest on the steep south and west facing sections. And a few years ago, if you went up Bliss Road, you'd struggle to really pick out the goat prairies through the work that Friends of the Blufflands and Rotary has done, as well as WISCOR and many other volunteers. But Friends of the Blufflands led the charge. And I think they were really spurred by both the finances that Rotary was able to put in, as well as the time that folks were able to pile in on that. Now you go up and down Bliss Road, and if you haven't looked and you don't notice them, take a look out there and you'll see they're very defined prairies where it's a globally significant kind of habitat space that's rare, because we don't have that throughout all parts of Wisconsin. It's really just in this in the Driftless region here, and it's through relationships like that we can continue to improve the resources we have here as a community, and especially those resources that are now becoming even more valuable in a time when we've realized that the answer to almost every COVID question, maybe not every COVID question, but is go outside, right? Like, it's the health, it's the space to be able to meet with people. It's the mental escape from your kids or your dog barking at you in the house when you're on a Zoom, and just go outside, and it really can relieve and improve your day. So we've got a bunch of projects kind of in the hopper and things that are happening throughout the community. One of our big things is that we're shifting as we grow. We're shifting from hey, let's try and get $600 to, to fix this little thing, or a few $100s here and there, is to a bigger kind of all-encompassing effort on all the little fixes and little things that we have happening, and all the wider community projects where people say, hey, I want to try and do this thing at my school or behind my park or whatever. We're turning, rather than these picking little projects, we're kind of developed what we're calling our Trail Friends Fund. And it's really that fund that can help spur the next project. And then as those projects need additional funding, we can tie in with partners like Rotary, private business, philanthropic families, and round out the projects. And again, we do projects from, we're doing one right now where we're helping coordinate the install of a story walk. So the library got a grant. They got these posts that will have a storybook page on them, and kids can walk down. I mean, adults can read them too, but it's only 20 pages long, so it's not gonna be as hard for you. And maybe they'll use some of these Spanish stories that were produced. But it's 20 pages down the trail, and kids can bring a guardian down the trail, and the partnership there wasn't a financial piece from us. It was just coordinating the labor to go put those in, and there'll be a grand opening on that soon. So we're continuing communities. We're working with Shelby, Onalaska, LaCrosse County to existing parcels of land. We're looking at purchasing new parcels of land to allow more outdoor spaces, as well as maybe even being able to access some private property through easements. On the end of this property down in the woods line here, there's a private family who owns that, but they allow the public to use it for trail space. So it's all sorts of great opportunities throughout our community. If you want to give back, you don't have to be as dirty as I get. We have parties. We love the celebrations, whether it's raising money or celebrating something we completed. We always appreciate volunteers to help coordinate, organize, get the messaging out. At one event, I said, we need some data entry. And before I got back to my table, somebody was yanking at my sleeve saying, hey, that's me. I want to do this data entry. So we've got a little bit of everything. We do events, a lot of fun family activities. So if you want to get involved, it's a great way to, get involved individually with us, or, continue relationships as a kind of organization to organization relationship. So you guys got any questions for me tonight? Are you done hearing me talk so that you can have some more cool drinks and sit in the shade? Yeah.
So Grandma's Trail.
Yeah.
In the news quite a bit. That got approved, right? And is.
Yep, and that got constructed. So there's 6 miles of trail that got built over there, and we're not calling it Grandma's. It's the Gateway Trail system. Yep. But yeah, so that was a project where there's a big park that surrounds Grandad Bluff, but most people just show up to Grandad Bluff. You look around and you leave. In the process, over the last couple of years, we were actually able to legalize rock climbing. So rock climbing was something that was weirdly maybe illegal or maybe not. There was these vague signs that kind of made it seem like you couldn't rock climb, but they didn't explicitly say that. So we worked with the city, and we've now got some great rock climbing zones over at Grandad Bluff in the quarry. And school groups can come take field trips and learn how to rock climb in these great spaces that we've got. So the Grandad Bluff project happened, and like I said, we completed it in October. So there's 6 new miles of trail over there. You can access it up at the top near the overlook, or there's access trails from the Ebner Cooley neighborhood and 29th Street neighborhood. Yeah.
Can you talk about the timeline for the Miller Bluff?
Yeah. Yep. So Miller Bluff is kind of that. There's 2 Miller Bluffs in town, and some people get real persnickety about what you call Miller Bluff and what you don't. But there was more than one Miller family at some point, and so any bluff that was near their house got called Miller Bluff. And there's one over there, and there's one down there. So the bluff above Schmitty's also sometimes gets called Miller Bluff too. But we're talking about the North Miller Bluff. There was a family who had a farm over that way. And over the years, some of that land was developed and houses were built on it. And at a certain point, that land was about to get sold or developed. And some local philanthropic groups came in, protected the land, and deeded it over to the city. So it touches Hixon Forest. Some people consider it part of Hixon Forest, some people not. The land was protected, and they had these plans from 1997 and 99 to extend trails in there, and it just never really happened with any formal trails. There were some old roads through there, some access points, but the city went back and forth on calling them formal trails and mapping or whatever. But now there will be a trail that connects from the lower Hixon parking lot to the end of Rim of the City Road. There's not a great parking option up here at Rim of the City Road, as it's part of Maderi Township, and so there's no parking down on that end. But now you will have a connected hike pathway from lower Hixon parking lot to Rim of the City Road. And then there was an old, a little bit steeper and a little bit rockier trail that kind of came up, and there's going to be some restoration work done on that as part of the contract, and that's going to start. It's probably starting now, or the open build time is happening right now, and it should be completed by October of this year. So
parts of that.
yeah, the restoration and the other piece. So the city was able to, on that one, the city had the funds to do the construction, and so ORA is stepping in, and we're helping with the signage and some of those other amenities, so that the city could just put all their funds to get both those pieces done. So yeah, you know, it's not as spectacular as 6 miles of trail at Grandad Bluff, but it's a great win. And again, it just connects more people into great spaces. You know, there's a lot of people, you know, I'll say, hey, did you know you can go hike here, or go hike there, or go hike there? And a lot of people don't realize how many great public access points we have in our community. I mean, there's almost maybe 20 access points between like the mall and Fiesta Mexicana, and most people really just know lower Hixon parking lot. So, yeah.
Along that line, is there like a website or somewhere where these trails are mapped out that
Yes and no. I've been involved for about 15 years, and I think on almost every board meeting that we've ever had, mapping was on there. And mapping has improved vastly. If anyone hiked here 8 years ago, hiked or biked around here, you were lost. You know, you'd be like, oh yeah, this is great. And then you pop out on this road and you're like, I don't even know where we are. I didn't know there was a cornfield in Hixon Forest, and now I'm in the middle of a cornfield, or, you know, so mapping is improving. The city has pretty good maps for the areas the city manages. The city, and they've just expanded that quite a bit. So they used to just kind of have lower and upper Hixon. Now they have the quarry down at the end of the road. They have Grandad Bluff. They have Miller Bluff. I think they have the marsh trails, and it's all on a map system that there's an app you can use called Avenza. So if you load their file into your Avenza, then it puts you as a dot on there. There's other apps that are kind of open source that are like All Trails is an app, and Trail Forks. Strava is an app that kind of records your activity, but those maps populate into most of those programs. And then at our website, ORA Trails, we point you to the directions of some of those things. I would love the front of our page to just be an interactive zoom in, zoom out, toggle the activities you're interested in, if it's canoeing or cross country skiing, and then those populate. It's just not there. So, yeah.
Do you have a goal or a vision for where you'd like to take ORA in the next few years?
Yeah, I mean, the big picture is I want $500 million of forest improvement and infrastructure in the driftless region. I mean, that's like my big picture. But when you think about it, you know, we call this the driftless region, and if you go to Chicago or Minneapolis, people, if you go downtown in La Crosse, people might not know what that means, and people here might not know what that means. But it's a special land type that you look out here, and this doesn't look like Wisconsin. You know, I kind of get goosebumps thinking about it. I didn't grow up in this part of the state or in this part of the Midwest, but the first time I came here, a little over 20 years ago, I mean, I was like, this is amazing. This is like truly special. And it's not what you think of when you think Wisconsin, right? You think of Charlie Barron's, and it's different than this. And so our region is 5 times the size of the Black Hills. We stretch almost to Minneapolis, almost to Madison, or into the edge of Madison. And, you know, like the effort that's gone into the the Hixon Forest area here. What if that was happening on that scale throughout our region, and really drawing people here, drawing businesses here? That's like, you know, my big picture. More realistic for what we want to do is, you we want to become a multi-million dollar a year nonprofit. In the past, we've been tens and twenties of thousands and now hundreds of thousands. And so we want to add some more zeros and continue. This year, our goal is to have kind of our community impact teams. That's our volunteer groups working in Onalaska, La Crescent, Shelby, here in the city of Lacrosse, Lacrosse County. So we're doing that slower expansion, but the big goal is to just see more and more, people really get tuned into and turned on to the benefits of being outside and the thing it brings our economies and our physical and emotional well-being. So, yeah. What other questions do you have for me?
I'm sorry, I don't have a question. I was just gonna thank you
Yeah.
very much, Jed, for presenting to us. It's great to have an update on all of the great things that have been happening, and we truly appreciate the work that ORA is doing and are proud to be part of that work. It's truly a gem to have all of these resources in our community.
Yeah.
It's just amazing, and that's what brings people here. It's what gets people to come back
Yeah.
for a
Yeah.
reason, and keeps people staying here to really help our economy thrive. And like you said, being outdoors is just great for your mental and physical health.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, and I always say, people say, well, thanks for doing the work. And it's like, if we didn't have work to do, we wouldn't have a reason to exist. So we want more projects. We want more things to pop up, because then that means that, we're still relevant and valid. So thank you guys. Yeah, no problem.
But yeah, no, thank you for making time and coming out.
I'll stick around for a little bit. If anyone wants, has any questions. Like I said, we appreciate volunteers in all ways. There's always something. So, or if you don't like volunteering, you can still money. We will not say no. So, yeah.
Maybe we need to get I feel like we need to get another invasive species. People on. Actually, I'm just waiting. Perfect time. I'm just waiting for you to talk about what? All right. Well, so we've done multiple trail work days. I know. We've done multiple trail work days. We've done multiple invasive species removal with axes and tuners and pesticides and chainsaws and stuff. We've got a trail meeting.
Yeah, well,
the finance allowed us to actually mark those intersections again, so you don't end up in some farmer's field going where I was supposed to be. So yeah, that was purchasing the stickers, signs, parsnip posts, and so.
Which, but we were thrilled with kind of what we were able to do to help. So, um, to answer your question, but yeah, that's about all we have. God, does everybody know that?
Yeah, escaping a bumblebee.
Oh, so this is Freddie. The younger sibling, right?
Yeah.
So a wild child. So
She loves the Hixon.
so dear old Mango is not here tonight, but love to get the dogs out. We had Steph did service announcements earlier. So, if nothing else, everybody's coming out. We'll do the 5-way test and then.
So no rush. If you want to road, feel free. Otherwise, not really. So 5-way test.
And all who think, say, and do, is it true? Is it fair to all concerned? Will build goodwill and better friendship, will be beneficial to all concerned.
I need the band. But thank you everybody for coming. Oh, ring the bell. Ring the bell. Bertha, do we want to get up?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
In the shade somewhere.
Hey, Brandon, will you tell me if the audio was okay?